Hey Shackers, welcome back to This Week in Switch 2. I'm your host, Asif Khan. I'm CEO, Editor-in-Chief, EIEIO here at Shacknews. That stands for Extremely Intelligent Extreme Intelligence Officer. At a time of AI, I have created EI to make line go up. Sometimes line do go up. Sometimes it's fraud. But yeah, I'm joined by my usual co-hosts. We have Head of Long Reads back from filming a documentary in sunny Los Angeles or Southern California. David Craddock, also our managing editor.
Yes, hello.
Hey, so one project in the can, not done, but in the can at least, right?
Right.
So there you go. Now get back to the long read minds after this
I'm there.
after this episode, and then our news editor and Pokemaster Donovan Erskine, fresh off of not reviewing Pokemon Pokopia again.
True. It's me.
It's a he, the guy who's going to. I'm telling you,
It's a
man,
me.
it has become your Tears of the Kingdom review, and it's not. Look. I'm the one who reviewed Tears of the Kingdom, and it took me almost 9 months. So when I give you grief about it, it's because I feel your pain. I reviewed several games during my Tears of the Kingdom review process. I think you reviewed like 4 games in between so far.
Probably maybe more since that game came out.
And some good ones at that. I mean, you've been playing Forza and some. I think mixtape.
Mixtape was in there.
Yeah. And then, yes, we are joined by senior news editor and the person who named This Week in Switch 2, TJ Denzer. Hey there, TJ.
Tis I. Thank you for having me.
And also the curator of the indies on the Shacknews E4 Indie Showcase 2026, which will probably air the same day that this podcast goes live. So thought I'd shout out the Indie Showcase here and tell people who are watching this show to go watch the Indie Showcase too while you're at it. I know, TJ, you've been working really hard on that.
Yeah, since March, and we assembled probably the best collection of games that we've ever done for this. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Go find something for yourself. Go wishlist something.
Awesome. And yeah, it'll be on all of our platforms. So it'll be on social media. It'll be on YouTube. We even are going to have like a Steam page for it. So yeah, exciting times for E4 as we continue to kind of carry the legacy of E3 into the future. But yeah, I know you also reviewed Mina the Hollower, so we're going to have a little bit of a discussion there. But before we get to that, a little bit of Nintendo news. Let's hit a little bit of Nintendo news, then let's talk cheese, and then we'll get to I actually played a video game. I know. It's exciting. And as breaking news. But Donovan, the Super Mario Galaxy movie box office update, they have hit $991 million at the global box office. Is that good?
It's pretty good.
Are you sure?
I think so. I mean, it's we've got some other. I think AMC just said May was like their biggest month since before COVID times at the theater. So
okay,
in general, seeing a big boom there.
So I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it that it's good. It's $9 million away from that $1 billion mark, right? So that's something that people have been saying that's like the white whale out there for them. The rumor is, we don't know for sure because these companies don't really disclose their budgets, but the rumor is the budget for the film was $110 million for production. We also don't know how much they spend on marketing, right? Because
they never include that in those numbers.
And historically, with these big movies in Hollywood, Donovan, isn't it almost like an equal amount spent on marketing as it is on the budget sometimes?
Sometimes when you get up into the big ones, like the Disney's, Star Wars, Marvel stuff, I don't know if Mario's reaching those levels, but it's close. It's probably up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
definitely a lot of money.
So they've, we can assume they spent more than $110 million on this, but I'm pretty sure they made back their money and then some.
Yeah.
Safe to say. But yeah. Anyway, terrible news for the company. Nintendo's still doomed. But yeah, interesting. It's out now on home video, so you can watch it on like iTunes and stuff. I bought it on iTunes. I think, David, you tend to watch things on like Prime Video.
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah.
So yeah, despite it being available at home now, David, people are still going to see it in the theater. So we might get to that $1 billion mark. We'll see. But yeah, this was an interesting week in Nintendo news that I have been talking about for a very long time. So we finally got it, guys. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 will release simultaneously with the Xbox and PlayStation versions and the PC versions on Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah.
And
long last one of the long running bits on this show.
And it will support crossplay.
That's huge. That's significant.
That's interesting. Now I can go back to not caring about Call of Duty.
Yeah, nearly a year long recurring bit on the show comes to an end. Also, as Ozzy reported, interestingly, that this is like being co-developed with the studio called Digital Legends. The COD Warzone mobile devs, they kind of pulled into independently, or not independently, but help develop this Switch version. We had I believe it was an Infinity Ward dev had posted like his sticker from when he went to visit Nintendo in Washington last November, I think it was. So they've been working on this behind the scenes. I'm curious how it's going to run. That's like the second we can see this running on a Switch, my eyes will be glued to the screen.
Yeah, the story's not over yet. Sorry, go ahead, TJ.
I will say at this point, with what we've seen out of Square Enix and what we've seen out of Capcom, if Activision Blizzard can't stick the landing on this and make it happen on Nintendo Switch 2, or if this ends up being a Mortal Kombat 1 situation, that's kind of unacceptable and hilarious.
But also, I do want to point out, just giving Activision the benefit of the doubt as a publisher and Microsoft as a publisher, they did ship Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4 last year on the Nintendo Switch 2, and it does run rather well. So it's possible that they don't ship a dog water port here. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I agree, TJ. This is a very important moment, but it is key because part of the deal, the Microsoft Activision deal being approved in Japan, was this agreement to support Nintendo platforms for 10 years. So start that countdown clock now. We got a decade of COD on Nintendo Switch 2 and maybe 3, we'll see. Also, I don't think we mentioned this. It's not in the rundown, but I feel like we should mention it here. Rocket League announced they're skipping UE5. It's going to UE6, Unreal Engine 6. And Nintendo retweeted that announcement. So that seems to imply that UE6 will run on Nintendo Switch 2?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it runs, but it will be there, factually.
And we also can confirm that Yoshi and the Mysterious Book was indeed developed on the Unreal Engine 5. So we have UE5 running on a Switch 2, and apparently we're going to have UE6 running on a Switch 2. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that in the context of this discussion about will COD run well. It's definitely going to be a different build, right? But, with a lot of, you mentioned the Final Fantasy ports, TJ. They're having to make lower resolution assets for these, and then they're using DLSS technology to super sample and, make these games look better than they are, make them work in handheld. Which I think is going to be a major selling point of this, right? Is being able to play a COD in handheld. Not that everyone's not falling over themselves to play Call of Duty on the Xbox ROG Ally and the Xbox ROG Ally X. But, this is a Nintendo platform. There's already 19.8 million units of the Switch 2 out there. That's a lot of people who can play Call of Duty, who may not, in this era that we are entering, or the era of lack of affordability, this is I don't think I included that either. Steam Deck got a price increase over the last week, and a massive one at that, right, Donovan? It was like $300 on the high end for the 1 terabyte Steam Deck OLED. So, I saw a bunch of memes. It was like an apology letter to Nintendo because everyone was reaming them over the coals over their $50 price increase. But at least Nintendo, in the case of America, even in Japan, they gave the consumers a heads up, right? You have until September 1st before the price increase happens.
It's also the 512 gigabyte OLED Steam Deck and the 1 terabyte OLED Steam Deck, which are the only ones that are still in production. Valve discontinued the LCD ones a while back. They still sell them refurbished, but the 512 gigabyte OLED Steam Deck now costs $789 US. It was $549, and the 1 terabyte is now $949. It was $649. Yeah, pretty bonkers stuff. And they had also been out of stock since February. That was the other like kind of sub narrative throughout this year, that they were just out of stock for months with no word about them coming back. So this is sort of a 1-2 punch that, hey, they're back in stock. They also cost ungodly amounts of money now.
Yeah, and there was no warning, right? So they were back in stock.
Came out of nowhere.
The price has been increased. There was no warning. So it really does make me just appreciate how Nintendo did give their consumers a heads up and did apologize to the consumers, and even committed to shipping a bunch of games to justify the price of their system. But now the Nintendo Switch 2 is the most affordable handheld in gaming, despite its, even after the price increase that it has already gone through in Japan, but it will go through the fall here, early fall here. But I think it's important to mention that in the context of Call of Duty coming to this, I don't think people are going to have all three systems this generation. I think people are going to have to make a choice, and I don't think everyone's going to be able to afford a PC anymore. So, which really sucks, because before this price increase, guys, like the Steam Deck, forget the OLED, the original Steam Deck was a great value, you know, and it really blows that this is happening. We're not here to dance on Steam Deck fans' graves or anything. This just kind of sucks, but it does highlight the value of Nintendo Switch 2 in this broader environment right now.
It was like the Steam Deck was such a great thing for indie gaming on PC, for people that just wanted to reach that library and not play something that was very high end, just something like Hades or something like Hollow Knight Silksong. games that are really good but don't require a lot of like high tech.
I think a game that came out the launch year of Steam Deck that was like an indie darling was Pizza Tower, right? So like their games like Pizza Tower ran perfectly fine on a Steam Deck, and even like some other games ran pretty well on Steam Deck. Like I was playing Death Stranding. I know, David, you love Death Stranding, but like Death Stranding ran great on Steam Deck. I even played Rocket League on Steam Deck because I had the Steam version of Rocket League. You know, some people after the great rocketing of 2020, they had to move over to Epic Games. But yeah, I have a feeling I won't be getting the update for Rocket League on Steam. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm going to have to finally download it on Epic Games?
Might be where they actually push you
like
off the boat.
Yeah.
You know, just you've been like standing on the plank, sword pointed for years now. They're just going to...
We're about to have that Duke Nukem World Tour versus Megaton Edition moment in Rocket League, David. The great rocketing of whatever 2027. I believe it's next year that they're doing this, or maybe fall this year. But yeah, I think this is good news. Call of Duty coming to Nintendo Switch 2 is good news. I want people to be able to play games wherever. I think the console war rhetoric is stupid. But I also understand that Microsoft spent almost $70 billion acquiring all these Activision Blizzard IP. So to just turn around and give it to Nintendo is kind of funny. But, you know, maybe they'll make some more money off of it. You know, we've talked about, like, what's the point of having an Xbox when all the Xbox games are everywhere and everything is an Xbox? So I feel like we're still... You know, we've discussed this concept of exclusivity in the context of PlayStation and Xbox and Sony and Nintendo. Like, how is Xbox going to navigate this? I think is still up to anyone's opinion. So yeah, interesting. Call of Duty. Donovan, you said we're going to have to stream it when it comes out. I guess that'll be the first time I like. I don't know, guys. This is Modern Warfare 4.
Yeah, it's about a modern Korean War.
Okay. Have they done a Modern Warfare 4 before?
No, it was strongly, heavily rumored. I even found multiple Shacknews articles from the late 2000s where we were speculating about one, but it never happened. No, they ended up doing Ghosts.
You might be thinking of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yes, Call of Duty 4 was subtitled Modern Warfare, which created that subseries. And then after Modern Warfare 3, they did Ghosts.
Thank you, David. That's what I was thinking of. Which, that's not confusing at all. Someone's grandma's going to buy them like an Xbox 360 game by accident. But also, like, I think they did Advanced Warfare, right? Wasn't that like the...
They did it Advanced Warfare. That was like the second one on the PS4, Xbox One generation.
And that had a super not cringy cameo from Kevin Spacey, right? Wasn't that game?
That was Infinite Warfare, which was like 2016. That was further into that gen. That was when they were in space. That was the one that was like fully off the rails. I think that's the one that gave us press Warfare. F. That's the one that had press F to pay respects.
Okay. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I guess my point is I got off this whole train at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which I thought was a great game.
Phenomenal game.
That to me was like, that was peak COD to me.
Yeah.
And you know, some of the Black Ops are great, but you know, after Black Ops 7, they might have to put that franchise on the shelf.
Yeah, I might have to turn in my gamer card, and I'm not bragging or anything. This is just a fact. I've never played a Call of Duty game, not any of them. I don't really feel like I'm missing anything.
I mean, look, I am not surprised.
I mean, the heyday's gone. The time to try it was 15 years ago, honestly. It's not just anything, though.
I honestly think that the original Call of Duty is maybe one of the better World War II shooters. Like, its take on Russian Red Square is amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
You know...
so exciting.
Right?
Talking Flower agrees, TJ. But, you know, David, I'm not surprised to hear that, because knowing you as a first-person shooter gamer, you like campaigns. You like the single-player FPS experience. And COD has gotten worse and worse and worse at delivering that over the years. I would say Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had a pretty decent campaign, had some really interesting moments.
You know, for me, it's more, I've never been into the whole war thing.
That too.
It's never appealed, and not because I'm a pacifist or anything, but because, I don't know, I tend to like a lot of, like, I like certain grounded games, but I like a lot of the fantastical in my first-person shooters. You know, I would rather play something like BioShock than any Call of Duty game.
You know, or Duke Nukem, right? Like,
or Duke Nukem,
or Doom. You know, like, I love, like, to your point, like, absurd weaponry, right? Like a BFG or a plasma gun, or give me a chainsaw.
I've played Battlefield 1942 once at a LAN party, and that was fun. But I've never played like a Medal of Honor game either. I've just not been into that whole genre or subgenre of FPS, I guess.
And I mean, I've written about it here at Shacknews how often they use the Call of Duty campaign to whitewash wars. You know, like there was this, I can't remember what game it was, but there was this, it was a war in Iraq, basically. And the people occupying Iraq were the Russians. And I was like, oh, really? Russia is occupying the Middle East? Really? What a fantastical story that just happens to make the U.S. the good guys. So I do agree that there is like an element of propaganda to a lot of the Call of Duty franchise, and that's kind of why I've jumped off of it too, David. But back in like that early day, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I thought had excellent multiplayer and a fun campaign. So there was a value proposition to these games that I think has been gone for a really long time. But you know, it's obviously popular. It's kind of like there's a kind of gamer, and I'm not denigrating these people at all, but they buy 3 games every year. They buy Madden, they buy NBA 2K, and they buy COD. Right? Yeah. Like those are their 3 games. So you now have all 3 of those games on Nintendo Switch too. So that's good.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So Monkey Paw curled last week because, you know, I've been talking about this stuff for a while. I want Nintendo music on the Nintendo Switch too, right?
Yes.
And the Nintendo Ninja obviously is listening right now. You were listening last week. I've actually been thinking about it, guys. Is it possible that the Talking Flower is bugged and it just goes straight to Devin Pritchard's office at NOA? Because
There's a
like,
chance.
Have you had lunch yet?
see, like, it's asking me all sorts of things. It's collecting data, and it's probably listening to this podcast right now. It's a guest on the podcast. We've included this thing. It could be a spy for Nintendo of America is what I'm getting at. So they're trolling me. Nintendo Music gets this awesome update. What was one of the things we've complained about? No Mario Kart World OST on this thing, right? So we got it, David. We got 37 tracks, an hour and a half. I listened to it last night. It's outstanding. But because they just didn't want you to be totally happy about this, David, they figured out a way to drip drop the Mario Kart World soundtrack on us. There are no free roam songs in this drop, but they said they will regularly release free roam songs because there's like hundreds of songs
Regularly.
Yeah, regularly is what they said, David. So hooray, more drip drop. But that wasn't all. They announced a web player for this. You can actually log into Nintendo Music on a PC browser on a Mac. How cool is that? That's actually
Cool.
That's actually very cool. Nintendo, I asked for this for Nintendo Today, not Nintendo Music. We need this for Nintendo Today. That's the thing you should have done this with. They also added tablet support, and it runs on Android Auto and CarPlay now. And they even added like Siri support. You can now trigger the app using Siri. But they didn't put it on Nintendo Switch too. Like, what are you doing, Nintendo? But this is cool. This is cool. I love Nintendo Music. I've said I think it's their best app. You know what? I left it off here. I'll add it to the end. I got to talk about Picto Nico at the end of this show. But this is, to me, this is their best mobile app. But it's cool. Like, you can now listen to music on the web in your car. You can trigger it with a voice assistant. And they added, in my opinion, one of the best soundtracks of all time. You know, maybe not the best. You know, Smash Ultimate's up there. And then we had this discussion last year, David. But yeah, I think this is great news. I don't know. Did you guys jump it back in? And also, obviously, you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to use this platform, even on the web. So I saw some people were like, I can't do it. It's like, yeah, you're not subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online. So they're obviously doing this to reach out to a broader audience than even people who own Nintendo devices, you know? But
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's cool. I honestly didn't think they were going to add the Kart World. I didn't think they were going to add the Kart World soundtrack to Nintendo Music anytime soon. So that was a pleasant surprise. And the CarPlay stuff will be neat. I use that all the time.
Is it not brilliant to announce a car support for your app and add Mario Kart soundtrack at the same? Like, that's just kind of, that's synergy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes about that.
Nintendo's learning. Maybe not. But yeah, not on Switch or Switch 2. And they didn't bring, they're like, here's a web app for Nintendo Music, but not for Nintendo Today, the one thing that you would want this for. Anyway, Nintendo Ninja, thanks. But like, you know, while I mentioned Nintendo of America, I have a Doug Bowser alert. I went to New York last week. We'll get to why I was in New York, but I went to the Nintendo store there, and there's a Bowser statue there, TJ. I know you're a big Bowser stan. I took a selfie in front of the Bowser picture, in front of the Bowser statue, and Doug Bowser replied.
Yeah.
Said, that's a handsome guy right there. And I'm like, is he talking about Bowser or me? That's really the question I had. But anyway, Doug Bowser, maybe my favorite Twitter mutual out there. He's one of the best reasons to be on Twitter for me. But yeah, Doug Bowser replied to me on Twitter. And there's
just come on the pod, Doug. Come on.
At this point, we need to get Doug as a guest. We have to get Doug as a guest. Like that's now the white whale. We have to get Doug to come on This Week in Switch 2 and talk about his amazing run at Nintendo so David can figure out what exactly he was doing. But
I'd ask him too. I would point blank be like, so what did you do?
It would be like, have you seen Office Space? It's like, so what would you say you do here? You know?
Yeah.
The redemption arc from being blocked by Doug Bowser to having Doug Bowser correct tweets directed at you is amazing.
Yeah, and also a man after my own heart does not pay for the blue check mark, had a typo in his reply to me, deleted it, and reposted that. So I salute you, Doug Bowser, and yes, what a redemption arc, TJ. Unprecedented, you know, like a Phoenix rising from the ashes is our friendship on social media. So yeah, one of the few reasons to be on Twitter is to just see the buddy cop film that is Techno Sucks and at Doug Bowser. What is it? The One True Bowser, I think this is his Twitter handle. But yeah, shout out Doug. And anyone who's watching that has been watching our show for a while, we haven't had a Doug Bowser alert in a minute. The man's retired, enjoying the hell out of his retirement from what it looks like. But yeah, has enough time to be watching my tweets. Does this mean that he watches the weather report, guys? That's the question I have.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's the majority of my posts on social media now are basically just memes about Nintendo or me telling you the weather in Canton, Ohio. So I have all these like industry mutuals now, and I'm like, are they all watching me talk about the weather in Canton and ranting about Myles Garrett? We'll have to find out. But yeah, Doug, Nintendo Ninjas, if you're out there, Devin Pritchard too, open invite to come on the podcast, right? We'd love to hear about her first year as president of Nintendo of America, following up the epic run of Bowser. And yeah, let's get into some games that we've played. What do you guys say?
Oh yeah.
TJ, you reviewed Mina the Hollower and gave it a 10 out of 10. The highest score that you can get here at Shacknews, our utmost highest honor here at Shack. So what makes this Yacht Club game so awesome?
This game is an amalgam of so many good things and so many good ideas and so much good talent into one amazingly sort of adjustable experience. And it starts with the fact that it's a top-down pixel action adventure game in the style of Game Boy Color games like the Zelda Link's Awakening, the Oracle of Time, Oracle of Ages, and other games like that. But it takes and implements functionally well the elements of Soulsborne and handles it very well for being a top-down sort of pixel action game. The world itself is wonderfully creepy in its aesthetic and doesn't shy away from getting like outright spooky and disturbing. The difficulty of it, like this game beat me up hard right out of the gate. And I think David too, like this game is not easy to jump into, but it has that similar Soulsborne style where like there's always an option. There's always other choices to make. There's always other directions to go. You can throw yourself at a challenge as hard as you want and get pummeled and maybe even break through to the other side. But there's almost always another direction or another way that you're not thinking about how you can advance. And like David and I were working on like covering this game at the same time, and there were many, many occasions where like we would have conversations like, how did you get past this part? And David or I would tell each other something like that we did not do in our playthroughs, that like it was just different choices we made along the same adventure. And I love that about this. It's so cool the way that like it gives you the freeform range to just run out there and either have as bad a time as you want or figure out how to get forward.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yeah, I just now found the shield, TJ. I'm on a second playthrough because I'm recording footage for an upcoming project, and I just found the shield, and I want to play around with that more because it seems like it's pretty fun to use.
Oh, you mean the coffin?
The coffin. Yes.
It's a coffin. That
the
you
coffin
hold
lid
up
or something? Yeah.
It's a full coffin. It has bodies inside of it. And if
they do the parry. Yeah.
so this is the parry weapon of the game, where like it's a coffin that you like. The first attack just swings it in front of you as a regular attack, but then you can hold the button to like keep it up as a shield. And if you press the attack as soon as an enemy attacks you, the coffin will open up and a bunch of hands will shoot out and do a bigger attack.
Oh man.
So that's another thing here, is that like at the very beginning of the game, you get a choice. You get to choose what everybody's seen the whip. You think that it's just the whip, it's not. You get a choice of weapons at the beginning of this game, and each one of them is very different from each other. The whip is kind of like the long-range, kind of slow-swinging weapon. You also get knives that can attack super fast, and down the line, you can actually throw one of them and then go collect it. And then there's a hammer that you can charge up and like roll around with it while you're charging and do it.
Sorry, no microphone courtesy at all here by talking fly.
So you got this hammer that can do charged up really big hits. And so every one of them is super different. And it's almost like I liken it to like, it's almost like the choice at the beginning of a Pokemon game, because it's really going to change how you play. And like the challenges you face, how hard they are, and what you can do. And you can still buy the other weapons down the line and get upgrades for them down the line, which makes it so like, yeah, the first choice is kind of just deciding what you're going to have to spend your money on later.
Okay. I have a question just in the context of Yacht Club Games here, because these are the devs, for people who don't know or who have forgotten, these are the devs behind Shovel Knight. And Shovel Knight, David, it's kind of like a Mega Man-like, or that 8-bit DuckTales-like, you know, or even Adventure of Link, right? How would you guys describe Mina the Hollower in that context? Like, what retro, like, I know the retro style, but just like from looking at it, it kind of looks like a top-down Zelda, but like, what franchises do you think they pulled from for this game?
Straight up told me it's Zelda, Castlevania, and Bloodborne.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those are...
Yeah.
Talk about three beloved franchises there, one of which will never have a new game, one that's getting a brand new game this year, and one that's probably going to get a 4K remake.
Woo, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. There's your Zelda Ocarina of Time 4K remake. People playing this week in Switch 2 bingo, check that off. Cool. No, because like I got that vibe from it, and obviously from reading your review, TJ, and just watching some of the gameplay, I got the Soulsborne vibe. But like, I love top-down Zelda games, so like I really am interested in this. I'm pissed off I haven't had a chance to play it. I bought it. I got it on Switch 2, but I haven't had a chance to fire it up yet. But I am really excited to do it because of those elements that you're talking about, David. The Castlevania element. It seems like the Castlevania element with respects to the combat, and obviously the Dark Souls element, the Soulsborne elements in the combat, but the adventure elements of Zelda, like that just sounds like a really cool combination.
Specifically Link's Awakening, because the jump, I don't know about how you felt, TJ, but the jump reminded me of the feather in Link's Awakening.
Yeah, it's absolutely Rock's Feather. That's the absolute vibe, is Rock's Feather from the Game Boy Zelda games.
Well, I mean, that was a huge innovation back in the Zelda days, David, being able to jump in that game. So
a manual jump button. Yeah.
And like this game makes extensively cool use of the jump, because it's not just a jump. Mina can also jump into the air, and if you hold the jump button, she burrows under the ground for a limited time and pops out. And there are two parts of that. It helps you avoid enemy attacks and reposition yourself quickly around them to like hit their weak spots. It also figures into an extensive amount of impressive platforming in this game. Mina the Hollower might be the most competent top-down platformer I've ever played, in respect to the way it handles dimension, the way it handles verticality, and the way that it handles like perspective. It respects height in a way that I don't think I've seen too many games like this get right, just because making pixels and sprites interact with each other appropriately in a top-down game with verticality seems hard. And I say that based off of how many games have failed to do it right.
I think a game that did it right in the 16-bit era was A Link to the Past, right? With really interesting stacked level design, right? Where you would do something on one level and it would affect the one below it, but also even on one screen, how you would be like above something and, you know, you would have to like look down to make sure like you kind of kept that in mind for the next time you were there, kind of thing.
There's another dimension to it though. Like this game has a lot of airborne enemies that you actually have to engage in the air.
Okay.
Which I don't think you could do in Link to the Past. Like there was no jumping and slashing and stuff like that.
No, I was more just speaking to like the actual dungeon design. But no, that's, dude, I gotta play this game. This sounds so fucking dope.
And back to what I was saying about how that burrowing applies to platforming. By burrowing into the ground and popping out, you get more air and more distance on your jump. And then the game is full of these trinkets that let you change up how you play the game. Like there's one that straight up makes it so that if you're at full health, you can do the Zelda shoot a beam action. But there's also trinkets that like change the way you jump or change how long you can burrow or change how fast you fall. And there's like side arms. Oh, a Castlevania, there are side weapons in this game that you collect that you can only have like one or two at a time that are very important to the way that you can do things. Like there is a sidearm that I've talked very extensively about on Shacknews and in my review, the fishing pole. It might be my favorite thing in the game, specifically because it's not just for catching fish. There's a fishing mini game in this game. There's a fishing side quest.
Yes.
And but this thing not only catches fish, but you can hit enemies with it at range, and it will pull Mina to them like a hook shot. And you can use it to like skip parts of the game, and I think it's going to matter in speedrunning. Like,
man, David, they removed hookshot from Zelda many games ago, and I think it's one of the things about Breath of the Wild and Tears that makes me sad. I'm like, man, this game would be cool with a hook shot. And I know you had to climb and they created the whole stamina thing, but it would have been cool if at one point you get a hook shot in that game. So this idea of turning a fishing pole into a hook shot just sounds awesome to me. And obviously it's a little different than how the gameplay of a hook shot would have worked in a Zelda game, but man, that's cool. God, this sounds really cool. Like it seems like this is kind of unprecedented levels of traversal in a top-down adventure game. Is that accurate to say? Very. And very adjustable experience. If you find it too hard, there's a modifiers menu that lets you do everything from make it easier. Like you can make it where enemies don't damage you as much, or you do more damage to them. Man, you can make it. I have heard so much nonsense on social media about this. That it's like, this is the worst idea ever. Like, this is an accessibility feature too. Like, that's cool. Yeah. And it can still be a challenging game, you know? Yeah. Like, while having this feature, like this argument that Souls games can't have this, like, they can, and it can still be hard. Yeah. Yeah, and add to that the fact that, like, as much as you can make the game easier, making it too easy, like, turns off the achievements. And also, you can make the game harder, which, like, if you want more of a challenge, you can go for that way too. And then there's just stuff that is kind of silly and weird. But like it's all to make the game adjustable to your liking. Mm-hmm. And it's tied together with good characters. I loved this story. The ending is like a hard gauntlet that actually tests you in interesting new ways down to a pretty satisfying finish. And then you tie it together with an awesome soundtrack by Jake Kaufman and Yuzo Koshiro. And this was a 10-10. This was an easy 10 for me. Mm-hmm. There was like one thing that I was not crazy about, and that's that once you finish bosses, you have to do this tower climb thing. I wasn't crazy about that minigame. It felt less fun than the rest of the things, but I couldn't like be mad at it because it was just one little part of the whole amazing experience. Mm-hmm. So this is just more of a question because I'm a huge fan of Shovel Knight, and obviously these are the devs who made Shovel Knight. Is this the kind of game where they could do like the Plague Knight thing, or is Mina such a dynamic character that it wouldn't really work? Like, is like, do you think there would be like a new game plus with like a different character? Would that even work?
I think there could be, but I can tell you they don't want to. They've been working on this for 6 years. They're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I get that. And it also just feels like it's a little different, David. You know, Shovel Knight was a Kickstarter, you know, that they got across the lines thanks to crowdfunding. Like, this is a much larger production. It feels like a more complete game, you know.
Well, to your point, this was a Kickstarter as well, but in the Shovel Knight Kickstarter, they promised those expansions.
Yes.
They very strategically did not make mention of those on the Mina Kickstarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Those were like Plague Knight, and those were like stretch goals, and then we ultimately got the treasure trove build on the Nintendo Switch launch, I believe. But yeah, like, I love Shovel Knight. I don't know if you guys can tell. I think it's one of the best indie games ever made. You know, it's really interesting, TJ, and I mentioned the Indie Showcase, which is airing today on all the Shacknews platforms. But, you know, in the last 2 years, Shacknews has chosen an indie game as our game of the year. And this is a 10 out of 10 game.
2 p.m.
And it's 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
It's 2 p.m. But this is an indie game that has received, you know, our highest score possible. Is this going to be high on your list at the end of the year, or is it your number one game right now?
It's a really hard choice because there's another Nintendo game that has been high on my list that I've been playing and talking about almost constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a real hard pick between the two of them at the end of this year.
That one's Tomodachi Life Living the Dream?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I can say for me right now, I am going back and forth between Aria Requiem and Mina for my number one.
Which also, you know, got a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm looking at this list, David. You know, we keep an updated must play list. And hell, Donovan, you reviewed Mugenics earlier this year. Another indie game that I think might be at the top of a lot of people's lists at the end of the year. It's just interesting in this era of $100 million, $500 million budgets. We still have the specter of GTA 6 coming later this year, that a little mouse might actually take down Take-Two Interactive's multi-billion-dollar behemoth come the end of the year. I think that's just, it speaks to how cool the video game scene is, even in these difficult times for developers, for hardware makers, for gamers, just for affordability in general, that there's this little mouse that could take down GTA 6 when it comes to game of the year. I think that's really cool and speaks to the power of indie games.
Yeah, and they were smart in the way they built this for replayability after the fact. It's got a pretty robust New Game Plus mode.
Mm-hmm.
And those modifiers make it so that you can play this game in a lot of different ways and try a lot of different things. So, like, I'm definitely not stopping at one playthrough on this.
Yeah, and, you know, Souls games tend to have, like, a huge speedrunning community. I know, David, you did your, was it the ladle run in Dark Souls 2? There's so many different challenge runs you can do. I can see how this game kind of sets itself up for that kind of thing. I'm curious to see what they do at, like, a game's done quick when this game is, you know, given consideration for that kind of stuff. It's gonna be exciting because, you know, Shovel Knight speedruns are a thing of beauty to watch, honestly. And yeah, it's just cool that we're in this era now where, like, you think about, like, Celeste, or you think about you know, Balatro, or you think about, you know, Dispatch last year. That these games are, you know, smaller budgets, smaller studios, doing amazing things. I think it just speaks to the power of the video game platform that we have games like Mina. And this game was delayed. I remember it, you know, it was supposed to come out on Halloween last year. They gave it another 5 months basically to polish, and it seems like it was worth every second that they delayed it.
What's that noise?
It's the freaking lawn mowing company.
Oh, right. It is Tuesday. Okay. All right.
They love to record. They love to show up while we're recording. So I will be jumping in and out of muting my mic. They're in my front yard right now, so it's going to be especially bad. David's like, "Are they coming for you?" I'm like, "Yes, they are coming for you." It's the Browns fans after I made fun of them for still cheering for the team after trading Myles Garrett. Awesome. Anything else you want to add about Mina before you head out, TJ?
There's a modifier in this game that turns off level ups, and I am excited to see somebody that's not me, that's better than me at playing this game, try to do that without dying, because that sounds crazy. I'm so excited for the future of seeing playthroughs on this game. I feel like it's going to be a really fun one to watch for a pretty long time.
So is there an equivalent of me mining for gold on the first level of Donkey Kong Bonanza? Like, can I just farm for souls or something in an early level in Mina?
There are some enemies that you can just like run outside of town and just beat them up over and over again if you really want to.
You know, because I'm like, kind of a buster when it comes to Souls games. I know, David, I think did we stream Dark Souls 1 together one time?
We did, yeah.
And you were just hard carrying me through that game. So I tend to suck at these games. So that's why I'm really interested to see how I handle this. Because, you know, sometimes Souls games don't really land with me, but top-down adventure games do. And I like Castlevania games, so stay tuned for my opinion on this in the future. What are you laughing about?
I've just never really heard your lawnmower before. Now it sounds like a UFO is landing above your house.
I'm telling you, it's like right out my window. They're like right there.
It truly does sound like they're coming to get you.
It's that loud today. It's so loud it's piercing through the Discord. I apologize to our listeners, especially the audio ones.
I don't think it's not like distracting in a bad way. It's just kind of funny because I'm like, look out, awesome!
I know, dude.
We're about to beam you up.
It's like Independence Day. It's literally like that right now. Awesome. But yeah,
I think my final thought on this one is that I have been playing like like another campaign run through on the Switch too, and much like Hollow Knight did for me, this game demonstrates how badly I want a better D-pad on the Pro controller. Nintendo, please make your D-pad less squishy. I would just like a snappy D-pad, please. Please.
Dude, I can't even play D-pad games on a Pro controller or the freaking Joy-Con D buttons. How dare you put buttons instead of a D-pad on your controller, Nintendo? Go get an 8BitDo SN30.
Yeah, I think I have to.
I would never have won in F099 without that controller. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing some good work in there. I might have to check that out then.
I couldn't recommend it enough. It is an awesome controller. It works with the Switch 2. It works with the Switch 1. You can even use it on your PC if you want. Whenever I play Tetris Effect or Tetris 99, when I was playing, when I was making Mario Maker levels recently, I was using that. And yes, the UFO is right outside my house again. So, I guess that'll do for now, TJ. We do want to remind people once again, the Shacknews E4 Indie Showcase airs on Wednesday, June 3rd, 5:30 p.m. There won't be any UFOs there. But yeah, there will be a lot of indie games. As always,
more than 24.
Thanks for naming this show, and thanks for stopping by to be a advocate for the indie games and this awesome indie game that is Mina the Hollower.
Absolutely. Y'all have fun. We'll catch you later. Take care.
Bye, Mina. Yeah, and just for the listeners at home, TJ has had a little Mina plushie with him the entire time, and she has removable magnetic glasses, which is just the cutest thing ever. That is adorable. Awesome.
All right, take care, y'all.
Later, TJ.
Later. Ta-da!
And we have I want to just call out our all-star panel. We had to relegate them to being behind me for the first part of the show, but we are joined by Kirby, Link from Hyrule, Zelda, Ganondorf, Luma, Rob the Robot holding the squishy Triforce, Toon Link, and for the first time ever on the podcast, Star Fox. Or wait, sorry, Fox McCloud. I keep doing this. David edited my preview today and was like, you keep calling him Star Fox. I'm like, General Pepper even is like, Star Fox, and then it's Fox talking to him, but he's addressing the mercenary squad. I'm sorry.
Right.
So yeah, cat's out the bag, guys. Or Fox is out the bag. I went to New York City last week which I call Techno City and confuse people with that every time I do that. But I got to go play Star Fox on Nintendo Switch 2. Normally we send Donovan to New York City because you're closer. What is it, like a 3-hour trip for you?
Yeah, up the East Coast here.
Yeah, so I got on good old I-80. I didn't drive, but I was driven to New York and back, David. It wasn't too bad because the Cavs sucked so badly that they didn't even get to a Game 5. If they did, Donovan, I would have been arriving into New York City as Game 5 would have been letting out, and that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, would have.
Also, apparently the Lincoln Tunnel is under construction or something, so it's been shut down from time to time. So when I was leaving the city, I couldn't use the Lincoln Tunnel. When I arrived, I was able to. So anyway, traffic, annoying. But I was invited to a Nintendo preview event for Star Fox in their PR HQ over there on the Lower East Side of the town. I got to play Star Fox for Nintendo Switch 2 for about an hour. It was a very curated demo, because if you gave me an hour with Star Fox just by myself, I might have been able to beat the campaign. You know, it's not that long of a game. I'm pretty experienced when it comes to playing through these different levels. Levels range from like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on how big they are and depending how good you are at getting to the completion of the levels. But man, this was a very nerfed campaign experience. So first part of the demo, they have a new training mode. I think the theme I noticed with this preview event, and also just kind of how I think this game is going to be framed in the grand scheme of things, is that this is reintroducing Star Fox to a new generation. Dom, you never played Star Fox 64, right?
Never, not once.
And you haven't even played it on NSO?
No.
So, like, for you, this is going to be a new game, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going to be able to jump in. There's a tutorial that explains how to fly, how to barrel roll, how to shoot, how to charge your weapon, how twin blasters work, how to pick up bombs, how to detonate bombs, how to do a barrel roll, or how to flip. There's like a somersault move. There's a U-turn move. So it teaches you all of that in a very concise tutorial. It's actually kind of fun. And at the end of it, it shows you this, like, I don't know, David, you remember those range mode battles, like the one that looks like Independence Day, where like the UFO lands and there's all those enemies in the sky? The tutorial ends in a moment like that, where it feels like there's more enemies on screen than I've ever seen in a Star Fox game. So like I was like, man, that's just like a little nugget of what could come in the future for this franchise. Because what's interesting about Star Fox 64, Donovan, is I think it pushed the Nintendo 64, David, like as hard as they could. Right? There were like a couple of games where they like just were showcasing what the 64 could do. And I think F-Zero X was one of those, Star Fox 64 was one of those, Ocarina of Time was one of those, there's your reference again, and Mario 64, and maybe even Kart, you know, those were all examples of like, here's split screen gameplay, here's as many enemies, here's the best polygons, you know. It was always about like, let's do as much as we can with this hardware, and as, you know, taking advantage of that new controller. So Star Fox for Nintendo Switch 2 kind of does the same thing, where maybe it's not the controller technology now that's really that innovative. Obviously, the Joy-Con 2 are just an evolution of the Joy-Con 1. The Pro Controller is just an evolution of the original one. But, you know, there's things like online play, right? That was never a feature on N64, and that was something that Nintendo wasn't even really good at last generation on the original Switch. So you have a battle mode in this that has online capabilities. They have a co-op mode that enables the Joy-Con mouse, so I got to try that out. But yeah, the single player campaign was the first part of the demo after this tutorial, and it was the first level, David. You know Corneria, you've seen it a billion times. It's that It starts out on the ocean, and then you kind of get to land, and then you go back to the ocean to fight the boss. Things I noticed there. This is the best looking Star Fox game that's ever shipped. So once again, this is that new coat of paint. But for someone who's played Star Fox 64, and I mean, Donovan, like, I've beaten this game like 100 times. This is one of my, like, there are a few games, like, I don't know, David, we've talked about this on pretty much every podcast I've ever been on with you, but like, there's like a couple of games that I go back to a lot. It's like Super Mario World, Duke Nukem 3D, Star Fox 64, and F-Zero X are like some of those games for me. And like I absolutely love this campaign. So like I know Corneria like the back of my hand, guys. And it's the same beat for beat, bar for bar, stealing my flow, Donovan. Like, it is literally the same level. And it's not, I don't mean that in a bad way, because I love the intro to Star Fox. I think it's, you know, like 1-1 on the original Super Mario Bros, David, like that's a great level, right? So it's, I think Nintendo has a reverence for Star Fox 64. It's deservedly so, but I think it shows it all over the demo that I played. But yeah, the things I noticed, obviously the water effects are outstanding. The draw distance is better. Obviously you have more polygons available to you on the Nintendo Switch 2 than you did on the N64. Let's forget about the Wii U. Everyone's like, oh, Star Fox Zero already did this. Are we really going to argue that people played the Wii U now? We're going to really argue that people were playing the Wii U? All these jaboofers on Twitter who are like, this game was already remade on the Wii. Did you have a Wii U? Did you have a Wii U, Donovan? No.
I did not know.
Did you even know Star Fox Zero existed?
I knew that it was the name of a game. I didn't know what it was.
But you didn't know it was like a Star Fox 64 remake. And like, going back to my original point, this was a game that I think was born out. I don't know what came first, David. Was there a Star Fox cameo in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, or was this game made? But I think that there's synergy, obviously, that they introduced Star Fox as an IP and Fox McCloud as a character in that movie to a whole new generation that have never heard of that franchise. And then just out of convenience, 44 days or 34 days later, here's a new game and it comes out in June. I don't think it's a coincidence that these two things are happening at the same time. And it's like the Fox McCloud cameo in the Super Mario Galaxy movie is one of my favorite parts, but it's also something that like even kids were excited by, right? So like, because it's just a cool character. So I think this game is about reintroducing the franchise. It's not like this is all we can do, but I think it's like, okay, let's show people our best foot forward for this franchise, not try to do something new first, right? And if this succeeds, I think we will get another Star Fox game. But so yeah, it's literally the same pacing is what I'm getting at. The bombs are behind the same doors. The robots, the enemies are all placed where you would expect them. And then really the only difference is there's no C buttons on a Pro controller, thank God. But like so they move some of those button combos that you would have to do for the somersault or for the U-turn, David, they move it to the D-pad. So just from a muscle memory standpoint, what would have been on my right thumb is now on my left thumb. So that was something to get a little bit used to.
Do you think you'll use your N64 controller when you play this?
No.
No?
Because here's the thing. I got stuck in traffic on the way home, and I brought my N64 controller with me on the trip because I was like, I'm going to play some Star Fox 64 just to kind of like get my bearings. On the way home, I was playing it. David, the N64 controller does not have the best ergonomics.
No.
It's actually quite uncomfortable to play over long periods of time.
Yeah.
So no, I won't. In fact, no.
I was curious.
Like, it's cool that it supports it, but no. I have no interest in using that controller to play a new Star Fox game. And also, they implemented it in a way where it felt great, you know? So I didn't feel like, oh, my muscle memory's not going to work here. Like, it felt fine. I will say this though, like when I play N64 games on NSO, I do like to use the N64 controller because of my muscle memory. For Star Fox 64, for Ocarina of Time, and for even F-Zero X, I do prefer to use the N64 controller just because I have thousands of hours of memory with that controller. But because this is like a new game, I don't feel that I need to do that. Because like mentally, I have that, I know where that enemy is, I know where that enemy is, but it's so much more comfortable to hold a Pro controller. It just is.
Yeah.
I love that controller. So no, I think they implemented the controls very well to the point where I won't have to do that. Thank God. Because like the N64 controller was revolutionary at the time, David. It's ass in 2026. Like, it's weird, man. It only has one analog joystick. The joystick itself was flawed, and then it has those freaking C buttons.
Well, it's hard to remember, but like that was the introduction of the analog stick controller.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it was a little janky because it was the first one of those. But I agree. Like when I think of Ocarina of Time, no matter what version, like I can feel an N64 controller in my hands.
Yes.
I have the same muscle memory. But I agree with you. Like even if they would announce that remake in support for the N64 controller, I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memory. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they'll probably do something similar because it is built on that or whatever. But no, played through Corneria. They made me do it twice. One to mission complete, one to mission accomplished. They're right outside my window with the weed whacker right now. But yeah, like I really need to talk to them about this. I'm like, can you come at like 10 in the morning instead of 2 in the afternoon? I wouldn't mind. Like you can, in most neighborhoods, 10 in the morning is like, okay,
Yeah.
Be like, guys, you keep showing up when I'm recording a podcast. I'm sure they don't realize it. It's just serendipity. But yeah, so played through Corneria twice. I did mission complete the first time, which takes you on the right path. This is a branching path kind of game. So that took me to Meteo, which is like this asteroid belt, which I thought was a cool showcase of just the graphical fidelity of this game. You have really good draw distance. Those particle explosions are cool. I do want to mention on Corneria, like it was a darker looking city and it had this contrast of like explosions and fire. So like the lighting effects, the explosions, they all look great in this game. Frame rate was solid. Which I think is super important for this game. You cannot have frame rate dips in this game. Which, boy howdy, did the SNES version have frame rate dips. That thing, this was, Donovan, they made a polygon-based...
So quiet lately.
It's really not quiet right now, Talking Flower. They had this polygon-based 16-bit game on the Super Nintendo. And you were lucky if you were getting 15 frames per second at times in that game, dude. Like, it was revolutionary, but in retrospect, Donovan, you would be like, this is ass. Like, if you looked at it, you would be like, what the hell am I looking at? Why were you guys excited about this? But at the time, it was cutting edge. The Super FX chip and that game, David, pushed the edge of what you could do with a 16-bit processor, right? And I think the N64 game did that. So it's cool to see like they made this Star Fox game within the limits of the Nintendo Switch 2. Like they did it in a way where it doesn't look bad. It looks great. It sounds great. By the way, they redid the entire soundtrack with an orchestra, so it sounds amazing. It's also available on Nintendo Music right now, so you can listen to it before the game came out. But yeah, like so you have all the songs. Both boss battles, like I said, I know the patterns. So it's funny. PR was watching me and they were just like, I'm pretty sure this guy's played Star Fox 64 before. And I'm like, yeah, I've beaten it a few hundred times. And they're all just laughing because it was just, I made quick work of these bosses. I was playing on normal mode. This does have difficulty settings, so you can play on easy, normal, or expert. Expert was not available during this play session. So I beat Meteo. They put me back on Corneria so I can see the mission accomplished path. To get mission accomplished on Corneria, you have to save Falco when he's attacked by these 3 enemies, and then you have to navigate underneath these archways over the water, these like land bridges. And if you do that, Falco takes you behind the waterfall on the right, and that's your mission accomplished state. So these levels on the left path, Donovan, they have a mission accomplished, mission complete, like branch. And if you keep on the mission accomplished path, you will get the good ending of the game. If you at any point divert to the middle or divert all the way to the right, you get the less good ending. And before Tears of the Kingdom, it was my opinion that the best ending to a video game was this Star Fox 64 good ending. So I was unable to do this on stream when I streamed it last month or whatever, but I am going to try to get the good ending on N64. So yeah, you did mission accomplished, and that was it. I got to play Corneria twice, Meteo once, and that was my single player experience, guys. Not that exciting because we had already seen those levels in the direct. And then Nintendo had the nerve to drop an overview trailer today that was just reusing all of the footage that we saw in the direct, guys. There was nothing new. I watched the overview trailer today. Nothing new in that overview trailer. So they're being very cagey with some of this stuff. So I didn't get to see like the James McCloud prologue mission. I really want to see that, right? Because that's like part of the story is that Star Fox was founded by James McCloud, Fox's dad, right? And then something happened. So you see the betrayal in that prologue video that they showed in the direct, but they imply that there's going to be a mission, right? So that's going to be new content. Didn't get to see that. So after this goes to where they're like, you know how Nintendo is, man. They're like trying to showcase what the Switch 2 can do. So one of the things the Switch 2 can do is play games with mouse controls. Right? So I did co-op mode, which they did it on Corneria again. I played Corneria 4 fucking times during this preview event, guys. The first level of this game, I played 4 times. I played it once for mission complete, once for mission accomplished, and then I did it once as the pilot in co-op and once as the mouse gunner in co-op. I don't know. I don't have kids. I'm sure this would be great for kids. You know, if they're not good at flying and they just want to have the mouse to aim, I think this would be cool for that. Like, you know, if the parent can pilot, or you can even switch. So I think it was kind of cool that like the cursor, you know, even if someone's moving to the right with the ship, like the cursor kind of moves independently. And the Nintendo Switch mouse functionality, like the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con 2 mouse functionality is actually quite precise, Donovan. Like I think it's actually pretty impressive. So like when they do implement this in an interesting way, I think it's cool. I do think we're going to see like a speed run category with this, you know, like a co-op speed run category at like a Games Done Quick or something. But, you know, it's cool, but it's one of those like, you know, David, it's like the check the box. Hey, we did this on this game. This is one of those reasons it's different, right? You couldn't do this before. And then, so yeah, that was it for that. And then they moved on to the battle mode demo. But I was kind of waiting for other people who were, no offense to the other journalists, some of them were slower in finishing their demo sessions. I was a little bit faster. But yeah, like everyone wanted to try both co-ops, right? I wanted to try the mouse. I wanted to try the pilot experience. So after that, we set up the battle mode, and in like the lobby for that, you get to choose your avatar. And I saw Donovan, you screenshotted me with some fox ears.
Yeah,
this is another one of those examples, David, where they're like, hey, you know what Nintendo Switch can do? Game chat. You know that C button, David, that you never hit?
Yeah.
Well, good news.
Well, here we go.
You finally have a reason to use this. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We will record a podcast in our personas on this show. So I played as Peppy Hare and I played as Fox McCloud in my sessions. Basically, which persona you choose will determine what team you're on in this 4v4 battle. So we played this mode. God, I can't remember the name right now. Let me see if I can find it. It's like Dom, you know Oddball in Halo?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that, where it's not necessarily capture the flag. It's kind of like capture the flag, David, but there's an element of deathmatch to it, or like it's like a dogfight with a capture the flag mechanic.
Yeah.
And so here it is. It's called Deep Space Dust Up, and this is on Sector Y. So I mentioned how like if you do mission accomplished on Corneria, that takes you to Sector Y, which is this cool space battle. But you're like, it's still a on rails space battle. This is an open world experience in Sector Y that's like kind of different. So basically, there are these NPC pirates that are just spaceships kind of in the middle of the level that spawn, and they have the cargo that you have to capture. And then you blow up that ship, run into the cargo, and take it back to your mothership. So in the case of Team Star Fox, you have the Great Fox. In the case of Star Wolf, I don't know what the hell they call their mothership. They've never actually named it in the game. Maybe it's Great Wolf. Who knows? So that's basically the rules of the game. This is a 3D space dogfight with a capture the flag mechanic, or a oddball kind of mechanic to it. There are 3 ways to generate points in this mode. 100 points for capturing the cargo each time. 30 points for taking down a member of Star Wolf or a member of Star Fox, depending on what team you're on. So like those players. And then 5 points for each NPC ship. So each team has these like non-playable character ships that are just kind of flying around. It makes it even kind of more hype. So there's a strategy to it, right? If you have multiple people on your team, you can have 2 people going after the cargo, 2 people going after ships, right? If someone's better at dogfights, you put them on that, right? So I played it twice. First time, it was just me on Team Star Fox, and the other journalists were teaming up on me. They must have disliked me. So it was 3v1, but you have CPU players that populate the lobbies, David. So even if you don't have a full team, you will have like CPU players, but they're obviously not as good as humans. So I lost the first game. Next game, it was 2v2, and we won in a very, very close game. I think it was like 20 points. The game is based on like a time limit, so it's high score by the end of the time limit is basically how it works. And played that mode twice. It was quite cool. And yeah, like I said it in my preview, like I foresee us streaming this game. I think it's going to be quite fun to do that. And yeah, like we had game chat enabled. Game chat has terrible frame rates just in general, but it's less noticeable when you're in your persona versus like the other stuff that game chat can do. But yeah, I this is another one of those examples though, because this is online multiplayer. That's something the Star Fox franchise has never done. And this was game chat persona stuff, which is something that the Star Fox franchise has never done. So it's like, those are, I feel like that was like the 2 experiences in this preview was, 1, we want to introduce this game to a whole new generation of people. And 2, for the people who are like, it's just the same Star Fox 64. Well, here are 3 reasons why it's not, right? Do I think it'll land for everyone? Probably not. People have their opinions. They're entitled to them. But for someone who like loves this franchise, and I really, really specifically love Star Fox 64, I'm super excited for this game to come out. I think it's extremely well executed, and I look forward to its launch. I think it's a faithful recreation. It shows a lot of reverence. I think Nintendo, like, you think back, David, to that one E3 when Iwata, Reggie, and Miyamoto all had their, like, they turned into Star Fox characters, right? Like the puppet show. They were like Muppets, I believe. Yeah. Like, I think Nintendo really, really, really cares about this franchise. And it shows in how they're handling this game's release. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they wouldn't... I don't think they'd bother doing a remake of the most beloved game in the franchise if they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, they chose Star Fox 64 very consciously. So I'm looking forward to it as well because it's been a long time. I think I only ever dabbled in Star Fox 64. So like I had a friend who was really into it. I'd watch him play more than I played myself, and so I'm looking forward to this as well.
And there was also like split screen multiplayer back in the day, and that was
Yeah.
There was that, they had a dogfight battle mode in the N64 version. So this is like an evolution of that. It also supports game share. So if you have the game, you can play with 3 other people locally via game share. Even Nintendo Switch devices, which I think is kind of cool. I don't know how well it will run, but I think it's cool that Nintendo continues to do that. Like that technology that they first showed off with the DS, David, it's still present in this era of the Nintendo Switch too. So once again, it's like, I think this game is designed to do 2 things: introduce people to the franchise, but also showcase everything that makes the Nintendo Switch 2 different than the Switch 1, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to its release. I wasn't allowed to, you know how Nintendo embargoes are, guys. There's a lot of rules. So I wasn't able to do like side-by-side video comparisons in this. I wasn't able to do direct capture. It was over the shoulder. But when the game does come out or whatever, I want to do side-by-side footage of the N64 game and this Switch 2 game. So like we can see like just how similar are these boss battles. I do want to mention character models are different. So Rob 64, still called Rob 64. I'm going to make a short video out of this. They changed Rob's voice and it is weird. I was going through my footage last night and I heard Rob's voice. I was like, wait a second. I was like, that's weird. So it's not just the character designs that are different. It's the dialogue is different. They did change a couple, the dialogue is super campy in most Star Fox games, but it does seem like they changed some of the dialogue in this, and they also added cutscenes, which I don't know if the cutscenes really add to the game, but they're trying to like get people more into the story, right? And the lore of the game. And like they really, really lean in on the fact that this is a team of mercenaries. They are not like some military rah-rah team. They're like, yeah, I'll do that for money. It's like, whatever, General Pepper, where's the money? Which I thought was pretty funny. Like, most Nintendo heroes are just heroes, right? Where like Star Fox team, they're kind of some rogues, and I think that's cool. It's like they are trying to make they're trying to give the franchise a little bit more attitude with that. But yeah, those are the other.
I always thought it shared a lot in common with Metroid in that regard. Like Samus is a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Pay her and she'll go track down your bounty,
I also felt like in the movie Donovan, it felt like the cantina scene with Han Solo, right?
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit like that. The Gateway Galaxy and the cantina scene, I think, have some
very much so. And I mean, even him asking, like, you need a ride, sort of thing, was kind of Han Solo, where he's like, yeah, I got a ship.
Yeah, and even the Kessel Run reference, like he's like when he goes into his whole backstory about the Star Fox team and the anime sequence. It's hard not to mention this game without the context of that cameo. And I think that's intentional. You even think about to the Nintendo Direct where Miyamoto kicks it off and he talks about the cameo in the movie and he talks about the franchise. Like the fact that Miyamoto was there to announce this game, I think speaks to what I said earlier, David, about how much they care about this franchise. And he was a producer on this game. But yeah, it's really good. I'm excited. And, I'm excited because I actually got my ass to New York City to play it. But yeah. That'll do it for my Star Fox preview. There's a dedicated gameplay preview on our YouTube channel and on Facebook and Twitter, which is called X for some reason. But you can watch it over there. I'm going to try to get some more vertical videos of the gameplay up because I haven't hit our cap of what we can post yet. But, we have to editorialize it and do all these things. And I was running out of time last night. We're recording this on Tuesday, June 2nd. But yeah, check it out over there on shacknews.com. I got an editorial preview if you want to read, but we also got gameplay up on those platforms. But that's not all. Donovan, before we
Yeah.
talk about some Square Enix game, we got some Square Enix news.
That's true.
We got a tiny, teeny little bit of Dragon Quest 12 news, right? We got a trailer.
Yes, and an interesting one at that, because Square Enix announced Yuji Horii was there, as well as the producer on Dragon Quest 12. And they announced that they restarted development on Dragon Quest 12, which was announced 5 years ago. It was called The Flames of Fate, and they very interestingly did not say when they restarted development, which has concerned a lot of us. But they have retitled the game. It's now called Dragon Quest 12 Beyond Dreams. And something we did know about the original version of this game was that the OG logo and artwork for Dragon Quest 12 was very different from all the other games. They all have that very fantasy-esque like logo on a white background with like the colorful castle or whatever in the distance.
This is like fire,
somewhat Final
right?
Fantasy. Yeah, but this logo, the for 12 was like lava carved into like stone. It looked volcanic.
Yeah.
The like numbers were like this like scratchy, jagged sort of look to them, which made everyone think, oh, this is gonna be like a darker game. This is gonna be like a turning point for the series. And with this new logo, it's like right back to like the classic DQ look with the like the cleaner Roman numerals. You've got the like castle in the background. So from the outside looking in, it seems like they decided to lean back into the traditional Dragon Quest vibes. Presumably, whatever vision they had for the game wasn't gelling. Maybe they got cold feet. They didn't like it. Obviously, they'll never tell us why they restarted development, but they did. So we got a new trailer for Dragon Quest Beyond Dreams. And in the trailer for DQ12, we see the protagonist, Hero, as they're always named. This one had a, like, almost like a mohawk sort of thing going on, and then, which has been the subject of much discussion, very dark bags under his eyes. And the very brief description they gave about the game was that it follows a character beset by like mysterious dreams. So, character with bags under his eyes, there might be some sort of dream world. We saw a little like round robot dude. We saw a woman with pink hair, and then maybe most notably this green lizard-looking guy with like spikes that come out the side of his head. And I believe it was Yuji Horii who said that the game will use art designs and character designs from the late Akira Toriyama, and as well as music from Koichi Sugiyama, two of the like creative founding fathers of this franchise, both of whom all have both passed away since the last Dragon Quest game came out. So this will be like the first one since they both died. I can only imagine Akira Toriyama has just work and concept art that will just long outlive him when it comes to this franchise, Dragon Ball and whatnot. And the same probably goes for Sugiyama.
But also like a design philosophy, Donovan, right? Like his character design is so iconic in both Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest, where like they have referential material that, you know, that they can carry on. So it's like he had such an iconic art style. He's like one of those artists where his work will live on like for a really long time, I think. Definitely.
Yeah. So excited about this. Again, a little nervous. The fact that they said they restarted development. Don't think this game's coming anytime soon. There was no 2027, 2028 tag on that trailer. We're in the long haul for this one, which is unfortunate because they had so much momentum coming off DQ11 in 2018, for God's sakes. We're probably going to be a decade removed from it by the time we see this game, I think, at the earliest.
I think it means we're probably going to get some more remasters, remakes in the interim. But we didn't get an announcement for Dragon Quest Builders 3, so congratulations, Donovan.
No DQ Builders 3 announcement. But another spin-off that kind of surprised me, they announced Dragon Quest Monsters 4.
Yeah.
Which DQ Monsters is essentially the, like, Pokemon-like Dragon Quest games. It's games where you, as a character, don't actually fight. You, like, wrangle monsters and have them fight for you. This felt a little soon, because the last Dragon Quest Monsters, the Dark Prince, came out 2022, 23, maybe? It's on Switch, and in consoles and PC. But this one, you know, a common thing they like to do in the Dragon Quest Monsters games is they will typically be about side character, like the main characters in those will be side characters from mainline games. So the guy from the last one was like Sorrow from DQ. It's 4 or 6. I'm going to mix up in my head, but this one's going to be about Bianca and Nera, who are like two of the side characters in Dragon Quest V. It's them as children, and yeah, I think in a couple days after this reveal, it actually got rated by the ESRB. So people are like, this game might be like closer than we think, maybe within the year. So that'll be exciting. DQ Monsters games are very well done. It's going to be a simultaneous launch, which is cool because we have completely skipped some of those games in the United States over the years.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. And then lastly, this is actually, I think outside of the event, they confirmed that Dragon Quest XI is getting a Switch 2 edition, which is cool because it's going to add like 60 FPS support. Not cool that there's no upgrade path. There's not like, oh, if you own the Switch version, you can get it for $10 or whatever. It's presumably going to be a full price game.
Damn.
And will not have any save transfer. What? So, yeah. People have been a bit up in arms.
That's doubly whack.
Yeah. People aren't happy with Square Enix with that one. That, and that one's like maybe there's another info drop here. Maybe in a month they'll be like, no, don't worry, we're gonna have all that stuff. But as of right now, it doesn't look like they will.
Yikes.
Which is a bit concerning. I can't imagine that being worth your money unless you just don't have the game already on Switch.
Yeah, I already have 11S.
Yeah.
No, not gonna do that. I don't want to pay $70 for a game I already paid $60 for.
Yeah, me neither. So,
that's a bummer. But still,
yeah.
I guess if you don't have the game, it's great.
Yeah, if you just don't have it on Switch, then sure, get it, play it 60 frames per second. Phenomenal RPG, one of the best RPGs ever made, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd say overall, maybe just like a lukewarm, medium sort of anniversary event.
Yeah.
For the 40th, maybe you wanted a little more. People really wanted a remake. Whether it be 5, 9, 4, 6, any of the ones they haven't really gotten to yet.
8
would have been exciting. 8's big one. Yeah, any of those people were kind of hoping for. So nothing there. Obviously they'll do them. I feel the same way I do with like Pokemon Remix. I'm like, too much money to be made for it not to happen. It's just a matter of when and where.
Yeah, to your point, like your point earlier about 12, like if there's this huge gap, they're gonna have to fill it with something. And they have 4, 5, and 6 just kind of sitting there that they could at least do like the remaster style. Those like 3D 2D? Yeah. The HD 2D. Yeah, they could do stuff like that to kind of fill the gap because, that's a long time. It's been 8 years since the last numbered release of this game franchise. So, yeah, they need they need to do something as a stopgap. Then again, aren't they also working on Kingdom Hearts 4 over there at Square?
Kingdom Hearts 4, they've got this big Final Fantasy 7 third game they're going to release. Yeah, you have to imagine somebody somewhere is formulating the next mainline Final Fantasy. Yeah, it's a busy company.
Yeah, so I'm sure they have things going over there at Creative Business Unit 3. I think it's what they call their studio, which is the most...
One of my favorite studio names.
Just the fucking worst.
That's so Japanese that like entertainment analysis and design doesn't exactly inspire creativity.
And it's like one of the best studios ever. So I agree, David. You're right there. But Nintendo and Square, just like with some of the most vanilla sounding studio titles ever, which is just funny. And I'm sure even internally, David, I bet their engine names are like so basic at Nintendo. It's like Video Game Engine 8.
Yeah, seriously.
Like we've never heard. They don't really talk about their engines, really.
They don't, no.
Which is kind of cool. But that's not all. Donovan, you have played a Square Enix game on the Nintendo Switch 2. I believe you played Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade earlier this year, right?
Yeah, it was around January, I think.
And then you deleted it off your Switch 2 because it's 1 billion gigabytes. Yeah. And now somehow you found a way... Despite our friend Shinsei Nakamura over there at Bloomberg, who says he can't fit games on his Switch 2, you found a way to fit Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on your Switch 2?
Yeah, I only had to delete like 3 games to do it. But yeah, I think they both of these games are in the 90 gigabyte range. Remake, Integrate, and Rebirth, which there's no way you're just having both of those. I mean, obviously once you finish one, you don't really need to keep it around. But yeah, no, Remake was deleted the minute I published that preview, and the same for Rebirth because I just need space for games. But yes, I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Nintendo Switch 2, the middle installment in the Remake trilogy, one of the most ambitious video game projects ever. And I mentioned it when Remake was ported to Switch 2, that like Rebirth will be the real test, because while the games are very similar, Rebirth is much larger in scope. It has a lot of open world elements, large open zones. It's a bit less on rails than Remake was. There's way more like mini games. I think of like all the stuff with Queen's Blood and Chocobo Racing and the cities you go to. Just a much bigger game in every sense of the word. And you can see some more of those cracks this time around. Remake was capped at 30 FPS on Switch 2, docked handheld, however you chose to play it was 30. Same for Rebirth. That said, it's a little less stable than Remake was. When you're out in some of those open world areas or some of those denser cities, you'll see, obviously I don't have like an FPS counter or whatever, but you can see it, you can feel it dip below 30 at times. I noticed some of the like hair textures, like when you're in cutscenes and stuff and characters are talking, I'm looking at like Cloud's hair and I can see it like doing this weird like grainy light refraction thing.
It's the DLSS stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been an issue. Even on the early build of Requiem, David, I think there were moments where you would see it in the hair. They actually did patch it in Requiem, though, so there's a chance, Donovan, that they can fix some of that. The other thing I saw in some comparative analysis of just the reveal trailer for the Switch 2 was that they decreased the amount of NPCs in like the city areas in Rebirth.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I played through a good chunk. I think I got like maybe 12, 15 hours into it when it came out on PS5. So jumping back in now, definitely just less characters and stuff going around. There's like some pop-in and stuff you notice, but it's not like a terrible. I'm not playing it. I'm not like woof. This sucks. It's just it is going to be the toughest version of that game, but still cool to have it on the Switch 2. And playing in handheld, I wrote about. The lower resolution does cover up some of those issues. It does look a lot nicer when you're playing in handheld. It's when you dock it and throw it up on a big TV that you're like, it's fighting a little more.
It's interesting, though, because you're right. It takes less power to push 1080p on this device. It's when you start using DLSS to get it to 4K or 2K even that you're going to run into problems. That's interesting. That I think in the Japanese market specifically, they want to target handheld performance probably more than the docked performance, because you could already play this game on a PlayStation, on your TV experience. Like playing this in handheld, I think, is the selling point, right? So that's interesting. I do wonder if there's like patches down the road that make it run better, because we have seen that historically with these games that are shipping with DLSS. 3.1 or whatever it is.
It'll be interesting. Remake Integrate has like the extra word tacked onto the end of it because it had like DLC and content updates and stuff, but they kind of went the opposite route with Rebirth. I think they were even open in interviews saying that like, we thought about doing DLC for Rebirth, but we just figured we were better off just moving straight to 3 and just finishing this trilogy and getting it done. So I imagine anything that comes next would be very minimal, like you said, like performance stuff if they can do it. But it's still a decent way to play if you're somebody who just only plays games on, your Nintendo system. It's worth picking up if you're like a Final Fantasy diehard. Still a lot of charm to it. Also just a great game, great characters. It really is like a darker chapter, the Empire Strikes Back, if you will, of the storyline here, where the stakes get raised. Sephiroth is much more involved in the story. I enjoyed playing through it. I love the combat system. I love all the character stuff, the decisions they give you. The mini games are really fun. All that is still preserved.
Yeah, the golden saucer part is, that's cool. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do there. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have space on my system to be doing this shit. Like, and the cartridges are worthless here because they are game key cards. So it's not like you're actually saving any storage if you buy them. I do have to say, and I know it's impossible with the current commodity market we're dealing with, but the Switch 2 would benefit greatly from 128 gig cartridges. Like, you could fit a lot of these games on those, Now, God knows what they would cost. They might be like $100 in physical, but
Yeah.
I guess the cost benefit, it still favors like buying a 1 terabyte, whatever they call it, the SSD or SDXC plus 42, whatever the hell they call it. It's some ridiculous, you know what I mean, David? It's some ridiculous name at this point.
It is.
And it's like not the same SD expansion that you can use on the Switch 1, which means it's even more expensive. But yeah, anything. Anyway, AI ruins everything, including being able to store both your Final Fantasy remakes on the same device. Because if you did that, Donovan, you wouldn't even have room for like Bonanza. Like, that'd be like it. It would be a wrap. You would just have the 2 Final Fantasy games. If you're just talking about the storage on the Switch 2 device, you like maybe have enough to like install 1 or 2 more games. Which is whack. But to your point, I don't think people are going to be playing both Remake, Intergrade, and Rebirth simultaneously.
No.
So is this out now?
Not at the time of recording. It's this week, though. It's like Wednesday, maybe Thursday it might be out.
Okay.
But it's this week. It's imminent.
Nice.
On the Switch 2.
So basically your take is if you don't have another platform and you want to play this game, you should get it. But if you do have a PlayStation 5, you should probably just play it over there.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are just kind of like, a lot of people do the thing where it's like they got a PC and then like a Switch or whatever the Nintendo thing is, and that's just kind of like where they do their gaming.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if you don't have like a super beefy PC, you'll be probably fine playing it on Switch. I personally, with all the consoles at my disposal, it wouldn't be where I chose to like sink 200 hours into this game.
Yeah.
But you certainly could if you wanted to.
It's also just coming out on Xbox the same day. Just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
So if you have an Xbox,
it does.
play there.
It does set up an interesting question now for the final game in the series, right? Square Enix has been given all the signals that they want to be multi-platform. They don't want to do this delayed release thing. It hurt the sales of Rebirth initially that it was just exclusive to PS5 before they brought it to PC and now Switch and Xbox. If they do go multi-platform with Part 3, will Switch 2 be their day one, right? That'd be huge. Will it be a few months later? Will it be the following year? Very curious to see. And
this is pure speculation, David, but like when they announced this, it was a PlayStation exclusive announcement, right? And it seems like there was some kind of contract between the two companies about that. So I doubt that they're able to get out from that deal, because this is not, it wasn't just the first 2, right? Like it's the whole Final Fantasy 7 remake that trilogy has to be. It's an interesting point you're making, though, Donovan, because I agree. Releasing it on all platforms simultaneously would guarantee the most sales. But the economics of that deal might not allow for that.
And Square Enix and Sony haven't told us anything one way or another, so we're left to speculate.
And yeah, we're recording this on Tuesday, June 2nd, which is the day of a Sony PlayStation State of Play.
It could get revealed within hours of us recording this episode.
Yeah. So we might find out that it releases first on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro here in the next day. So if this speculation is worthless, please understand. But if not, this is going to be interesting. Which just leads me to our last topic before we go. Because I think my house is bugged, right? Like Nintendo is clearly listening to me. Or they're either watching this podcast and sending it to Redmond. Maybe the talking flower is just beaming everything I say to Redmond. So maybe this is all just vetting me to be the next president of Nintendo of America. Like this is some really elaborate vetting process. Like, is that possible?
That'd be an interesting turn.
This whole Doug Bowser thing going on, and then them releasing Nintendo music on all these different platforms. Like, it just seems
It's like they say, Asif, the chances are slim but not zero.
Yeah. It is my goal. I've had a few goals in life, and one was to buy the Cleveland Browns. That doesn't look like that's going to happen. But, maybe that's for the best. And then, I would like to be president of Nintendo of America. Not that Devin Pritchard's not. I think she's doing a great job early on. I liked what she had to say in her first public appearance and stuff. And but yeah, not that I think Nintendo of America is doing a bad job. I think I would do a good job over there. So maybe that's what's going on with all these characters sitting behind me watching me, especially the talking flower. But speculation. Do you guys think we're getting a Nintendo Direct this month?
Yes. Very confident.
Do you think we are getting a partner Direct or a proper Nintendo Direct?
I think it would be a full normal Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
No asterisks.
Okay.
It's usually how they get down in June.
Yeah, I agree. Mainly, David, and this is the third time we'll mention it because Triforce, they need to announce the Legend of Zelda. And
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Speaking of
3 p.m.
Speaking of number 3, they need to announce the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 4K remake.
Yeah.
They need to announce that. They need to announce the release date for Fire Emblem, Donovan. Like that.
Yes.
We need an announcement for that. They need to show us more of Splatoon Raiders, right? Like they still have that Rhythm Heaven game coming out, right? Like there are Star Fox is coming out June 25th. So they love to do that, like right around a big release, have that direct, point people at that game, right? Maybe lead the direct with that. But also we talked about it. There's a gaping hole in the back of the year. We don't know what they're releasing in September or August, September, November, August, September, October, November, December. We don't have any idea what they're releasing in those months, David. I know you're going to say Ocarina of Time 4K Remake will be released in probably November or one of those months, but what is going on in the other 4 months, David?
Anticipation for Ocarina of Time 4K Remake, of course.
But also, so we were talking about this on our staff call yesterday, but the Nintendo Switch 2 price increase happens on September 1st. They are incentivized to get people to buy this thing, before then or even after then. But there's one game that they showed off in April of last year at that Reveal Direct where I'm like, this appeals to a different group of gamers than the core Nintendo fan. And it's the Duskbloods. And I'm like, This is where you announce the release date for the Duskbloods, in my opinion. You need to do this sometime in June. There's a rumor that it's going to be June 4th. I think that's way too early. I don't think that's happening. I think they're going to let everyone else go, right? In the summer of Jeff, right? You have all these little things. You have the Shacknews Indie Showcase. They don't want to overshadow us. And then maybe next week, the week after, we get a Nintendo Direct. Maybe a week before Star Fox comes out or something. So I'm thinking sometime in mid-June, we get a proper Direct. And I agree with you guys. I think this rumor of the partner Direct is not going to happen. Because they can these bigger games, right? They could show us Call of Duty running on Switch 2, right? We know that's out there. They can include that kind of stuff in a proper Nintendo Direct. Or let's say that college football, Donovan, let's say that's coming out on Switch 2. That's something you include in a mainline Direct, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to see. Maybe the confirmation about Rocket League UE6 coming to Switch 2, that's something you have on a mainline Direct. So I agree. I think we're getting that. I think ideally, there's two ways they can handle this, David. You start the Direct with the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 4K remake announcement, and you end with a teaser for the 3D Mario game, just with a year, be 2027.
Yeah, I feel like I think you're right. I think the way I would do it is the Ocarina of Time remake would be the one more thing.
Yeah.
Because that sends the message of we'll have more to say about this later.
Yeah, and maybe you lead with a tease for the Mario 3D game.
Yeah, something like that.
But also,
That was just a year, like, yahoo!
Yeah.
And then 2027, whatever.
yeah, like, you know,
Eureka! I just got
Uh-huh.
an amazing idea.
okay, so Talking Flower, I think.
What was
Wait,
I talking about?
Oh, God damn.
Oh.
Talking Flower forgot the great idea, guys. Also, Donovan, you keep mentioning this. Smash.
Yeah.
They could just say the word Smash. You know, like, just say
All
it.
you gotta do.
Just say it. Nintendo, just say the word Smash, and people will line up to buy your console. Because then we know that the Smash marketing cycle is going to be over a year, right? Like, it'll take a while to build that up. Like, you could be like, coming in whatever, you know. I feel like one of those two games has to be shown at this Direct, David, just to get hype started. Either 3D Mario, because you're capitalizing on the Mario movie hype, or a Smash Bros. Game. But, like, those are those core... There's, like, these groups of gamers that will buy a Nintendo console that might not have already, right? And I think the Duskbloods appeals to that. I think Smash Bros. Appeals to that. But the core Nintendo fan needs to be served. And you do that by giving us new Zelda and new Mario, right? So I think that those are my crazy expectations. That if we get all of that in the Direct, that would be like the greatest Direct ever. Like, I don't think we'll get all of that.
I don't think we'll see a tease for the 3D Mario, though, being realistic. I think that they're going to concentrate on this year.
Yeah.
Like, because lately, especially, they've done a Directs, like, with anywhere from a day to minutes notice. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
And they concentrate on things in the immediate future, not the distant future. So,
And to your point,
yeah.
Zelda's 40th anniversary in North America is this summer, and we are now less than a year away from the Legend of Zelda movie, which means they need to start promoting Zelda.
Yeah.
Donovan, is there a chance that we get a teaser trailer for the movie at a Direct? Is it too soon for that?
At a Direct, yes. Not. I don't think this Direct. I think images maybe you could see it. I could totally see them being like, production is wrapped and it's coming. It's it's on track for this blah 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 day. It'll be in IMAX, and while they're talking, they show like 2 or 3 new images officially of like Link and Zelda and maybe like another character.
Because like, wouldn't that be the perfect way to like lead into the Ocarina reveal, David? It's like Miyamoto comes up, or Aonuma comes up, and they're like, we are very excited to show you some images from the Legend of Zelda movie. And then they're like, we have one more announcement, and it's just, hey, listen.
Like, I think that going back to what we were discussing just a few minutes ago, I don't think they lead or end with Ocarina of Time. I think it's what they did for Mario's anniversary last year, where they have a whole block of Zelda content.
Yeah.
And it's probably a teaser like, hey, we'll say more about this in the future, but yes, Nate the Hate was right, which they never say. And then they'll show like an Ocarina of Time little tease, you know.
I can't even talk about this part of the embargo that I signed, but there is a Nintendo hates leaks. That's all I'll say. Boy, do they hate leaks.
This is relevant. This is relevant to our podcast here. Nate the Hate says he'll be disclosing more information on his podcast tomorrow, Wednesday, June 3rd.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Duskblood's release date. Come on, baby. I just think that would be cool. I know, David, you're not like as into multiplayer games, but you do like the multiplayer Souls experience. I know you and your wife like to play those games together.
I do, but neither of us liked Night Rain, so I'm going to take this at face value. Like, if it looks cool, great. I'm not excited for it, though.
You're also not a big Bloodborne guy, right?
No. Mm-mm.
Elden Ring related sidebar. Dude, I went to someone's house for the first time last week, I think, and I found out he was a huge Elden Ring fan. And like his living room, they had like plants and stuff, and one of them was the pot that like waves at you from Elden Ring. He had like plants in there, and I like called it out because I was like, I like Elden Ring, and it was like, oh, let me show you this. And in his like game room, there was like paintings of all the different bosses and like characters and whatnot from Elden Ring on the walls. And then he had this big tank with his like lizard in it, and the lizard was named Radon.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a super fan right there.
Yeah. It's like, damn.
That's dope. When is that game coming out on Switch 2?
That's something more
Tarnished
announced.
edition.
Yeah, I feel like that's in a partner direct, maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
Those are two. I know it's not going to be the best way to play it. I already have that game on PC. I should probably just be playing it on PC. I don't know, someday. But yeah, I think that's a lot right there, though. There's, and then obviously there's an F-Zero game that they're going to announce in the direct, so we'll get that. Sorry, I had to throw it in there. Look, guys, I've been several weeks removed from playing F-Zero 99. It's kind of weird.
yeah.
I feel like I should go back, but there's other games.
Not before you play Mina.
This is the problem now, David. There's my backlog just for games that released this year is getting massive. I haven't even played Mugenics yet, and I know I'm gonna like that game. So this is crazy. This year is already stacked with amazing games, and we haven't even gotten past the summer of Jeff. Who knows what Jeff has cooking? What weird Muppet orgy he's going to show us on Friday in front of.
Forget Friday. I'm looking forward to tonight. I think we're going to get some certain information in the PlayStation State of Play that's going to make me a very happy guy.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's I believe it's the Resident Evil Code Veronica remake. That's what you're like. You're white with
yes.
right? That's your show.
Yes. The one remake that's really needed a remake so far. The other ones were okay, cool. But this one is oh my gosh, does it need the work?
Maybe we're finally going to get some Crazy Taxi news. I'm kidding.
That would be cool.
I know. Not
Crazy Taxi?
I want to make some crazy money. But yeah,
Hey.
I'm interested to see what we get here. It's always an exciting time of year. A lot of news. This is where the industry shows off. Here's our fall lineup. Here's what to look forward to next year. So interested to see what we're getting on that front. But yeah, the random things on the third party side, I want to see if college football comes to Switch 2. It might come to PC also, Donovan. I saw.
Heard that. Which would be crazy.
That would be dope. Because then they would open up to the modding community where they could maybe put the Dynasty mode that I want in, and then, God help us, I would just stream college football till the end of time. But yeah, because the stuff they did, even just modding Madden, if they were able to do that with a college football game. Also, they're adding NIL to it and stuff down. They're adding a bunch of stuff, it sounds like, this year, so that's exciting.
One of the showcase of the week, I believe that's Thursday. They called it EA Sports Opening Drive, which is a new thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also a rumor that's going to be a subscription service that combines both Madden and college football. There's a lot of stuff to pay attention to out there on the third party side, and that'll be something that will impact Nintendo fans as well. But yeah, that Nintendo Direct, that June Nintendo Direct, it just seems like it has to happen. Mm-hmm. While we were recording, Nintendo Investor Relations Twitter tweeted out that their next earnings report will be August 6th. So something for us to consider. That will be their next update. That'll be less than a month before the Switch 2 price increase here in the United States and Europe. The Switch 2 has increased price in Japan now. That last few weeks, though, there was a mad dash to buy that thing. Because it was $370 there when you translate the currency, which is a hell of a deal, honestly, in this world. So people were buying it ahead of that price increase. I wonder if we see something similar happen here in the United States. Now that the chips have fallen, the Nintendo Switch 2 is one of the most it is the most affordable handheld gaming device out there now. And I think Nintendo is eating some of that, because what's happening with Valve, I don't think Valve is a high volume customer for these RAM and NAND companies, so they're probably not getting the preferential treatment that an Apple would, or even a Nintendo. So, because they're not making the amount of units. So it seems unfortunate, but my God, what does this mean for the price of the Steam machine?
Nothing good.
Yeah, so I'm worried about that thing. Still no release date. I think, Dom, you mentioned in a past episode, they probably regret announcing that when they did. Just unfortunate timing. But I think it's a cool product idea, and I want to want to try it out. I want to review it. I know, David, you're very interested in it as like someone who wants like a couch PC experience. And also, I like big picture. I like the Linux stuff that they're doing. I think they're doing cool stuff with the Steam platform. So yeah, I might not like the form factor of the deck, but I think it's the best PC handheld gaming device out there, especially the deck OLED. So I saw that the ROG Xbox Ally got like a OLED version.
Yes, the X20.
How much does that thing cost?
Didn't announce that. Interestingly enough, yeah, but ROG. I always think uses ROG is a subdivision of Asus.
Correct.
It's part of the 20th anniversary of ROG within Asus.
Do you know what ROG stands for?
I sure do. The Republic of Gamers, which, it's about as 2000s gamer Reddit forum energy as you could possibly have. But
you're so right. You're so right.
Oh man, so no price.
No price, and it's bundled with the X-Real, whatever the newest X-Real glasses are, the smart glasses. Yeah,
those are cool.
So,
I'm not hating on X-Real.
They do seem cool. Yeah, it's just going to cost $1 million.
Yeah, something tells me it'll be more expensive than the Switch 2. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is it's funny, David. Like Nintendo gets a lot of grief for not participating in the hardware aspect of the console war, the hardware pissing contest, right? The teraflop contest. But it sure seems to be helping them in this RAM constrained universe that we're in now. Like, it seems like that decision that Iwata made ahead of the Wii launch has kind of proven to be sound over 20 years later. So that's cool. Nintendo doing more with less, making cool games, and it just shows like Mina the Hollower is not the most graphically intensive game, David, but it's fun and it's cool and it's doing things that haven't been done before in that genre. Like, I think it's really cool to see what indie developers are doing at this time, and I think what we're witnessing here is an elongation of the current generation of consoles and PCs. We haven't had a GPU update in like a year, over a year. So like developers are going to have to figure out how to optimize the current hardware specs and maybe even develop for lower spec in the interim. Because I don't know when we're going to get a new paradigm shift in gaming PCs, or when PlayStation will decide to ship a PS6. If I were PlayStation, I would just keep running the PS5. Like, you have the addressable market, you just need more games. And if I were Xbox, I would continue being Xbox. But, so I think that this is a huge opportunity for developers to take advantage of this elongated cycle and to figure out how to optimize or innovate or come up with cool gaming experiences. Not everything has to be the most graphically intensive thing. And there are tools like DLSS that help make higher fidelity experiences without the assets required for it. So,
to your point, Asif, Mina is not only like one of the most successful games of the year so far, but it's also the top rated game of the year, and it's not some AAA $100 million budget juggernaut.
Yeah,
it's just the highest rated game of the year so far.
I saw huge. News broke while we were talking that they have sold 300,000 copies in 3 days, and they have secured Yacht Club Games sustainability by hitting that in less than a week.
I go more into that story in our documentary because that was a big hook for us. Like, this is make or break. What are they thinking so far?
Yeah. So we can just let people know here. David's next documentary is 24 to launch, Mina the Hollower. Greg and David were embedded with Yacht Club Games the day before and the day of launch. So that it's very similar to the Borderlands, the Making of Borderlands 4 documentary that we did last year. We also did it with Pillars of Eternity. Was that 2? Yeah, Deadfire.
Yep.
So that was our first one of these 24 to launch. Then last year we did it with BL4. This year, we're doing it with the highest rated game of the year. We had unprecedented access, and it'll be a high quality production that David and Greg will be putting their heads together. I will be involved as the executive producer and the guy who watches it multiple times and giving you guys my edits and whatnot. But yeah, it's always I really enjoy our long form content and how you've kind of evolved, not just from writing long prose and long reads, but also creating like really compelling deep dive video content. When you and Greg fusion ho, it's always a very, very fun experience. So definitely look forward to that, listeners and viewers. Also, just because I am a unrepentant shill for all those things, Shacknews, the Shacknews E4 Indie Showcase 2026 airs the same day that this podcast does. So watch it. I will link it in the description of this YouTube video. I will continue to pound the table. And also, since I'm wearing all this merch, you might wonder, why is Asif so anti-AI? Well, one, it's ruining everything. But two, this merch can be bought on Shack Shop as of today. So if you want a fraud shirt that makes fun of Anthropic's Claude, or if you want a hat that says no AI on it, we got you covered. We also have a clean AI, or clean water is greater than AI shirt. We got a clean air is greater than AI shirt. We got an Apple lampoon. We lampoon the Apple logo. It says stink different on it. We have a couple other ones. One that makes fun of Copilot, one that makes fun of Grok. If you want a shirt that just has a big no AI sign on it, we got you covered. We got women's shirts and men's shirts. This is our biggest drop since we launched the Shack Shop during our 30th anniversary direct. So yeah, this stuff is available to purchase on shackshop.com, powered by Fourth Wall. Some of these will probably appear underneath our video on YouTube too. So if you want to support content like this, and you want to support a group of people who aren't using generative AI to create the content that we're doing, please consider supporting us with our anti-AI line of products. So that's going to do it for the show. It was an action-packed show full of a bunch of great games. Like, talk about what a wonderful year to be a gamer if you already own a console. If you don't, please understand. But if you don't have a PC, I'm so sorry. If you're trying to build a PC right now, I just want to give you a hug through the camera. I'm sorry. But otherwise, yeah, what a year for video game releases. And this is before God Emperor of Video Games, Jeff Keighley, has announced the next game that he's going to put a bunch of hype behind and ultimately will die before it even launches. But hopefully there's more news. Hopefully we get some information about Final Fantasy's third entry, in the Final Fantasy VII trilogy. Maybe we get some Kingdom Hearts 4 news. And yeah, maybe we get that Nintendo Direct that finally announces the new F-Zero game, guys. I think that would be... What a perfect game to just slide into that fall lineup, David.
I know. Yeah.
It would fit right where Kirby Air Riders was last year. You know?
Yeah.
Right there.
Right there.
It's right there. I do want to mention, Bandai Namco has had a bleed of talent recently. You have Harada that's left, and now another game director for Tekken has left. That's a little concerning considering they've been the support studio for Smash Brothers for years. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
So if you're not busy, Sakurai, by all means make a new F-Zero game. I know. But yeah. Talking Flower, what do you guys say about all this?
So, did you have a good day?
All right.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out after the state of play. But that'll do it. Like, follow, and subscribe. Vote for This Week in Switch 2 on all your podcast facilities. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.